Get down. Oh. I just thought we were singing before, because that pumps us up before we start. But okay. Get down on it.
Get down on it. Even though that's a different song.
Yeah, that is. My bad. What's up, everybody?
Hey, everybody.
It's your Blerd girls, Bola and Whitney.
Oh, yeah.
And this is BlerdTalk with Bola and Whitney.
Oh, yeah.
So for anyone who is just listening to us for the first time, this is a show where two blerds, black nerds, females, we talk about whatever we want to blerd out about. Okay.
That's right.
So it could be any kind of topic. We could be talking about movies, TV, culture, politics, whatever. We just feel like the reason why we do this show is because we feel like our black female voices, nerdy voices, need to be out there in the world.
We do.
Exactly. Right, Whitney?
That's right.
All right. So now that you know who we are, we got Whitney over here and then me, the Triple F Queen. Hey.
Hey.
And we're going to talk about, what's our topic today, Whitney?
Our topic today is Mulan. Not the animated one, which was awesome, but the live action one, which was less awesome.
Yes. I just realized that was like the
Which one was that
Kung
from?
Fu Fighting. The song Kung Fu Fighting.
I feel like it was also in one of the like animated songs. Like Mulan.
I feel like honestly I feel like it's one of the Jackie Chan movies, like Rush Hour or something. That's what I was thinking. Anyway, that's not the song from Mulan. I should have like sang something else or hummed something else, but
Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, whatever you sang or hummed probably wouldn't have come through because there was like no music.
Yes, there was nothing in Mulan. I mean,
obviously there was music, you guys, because there's like soundtracks and stuff and like orchestral
instrumental
stuff.
score.
But there was like it wasn't a musical, which you know is fine for some cases. Like what was it? Cinderella, the live action Cinderella that didn't have the music. I actually really liked that. It made me smile. Like throughout the whole movie, I was just smiling.
It was made well. So okay, just a preface. Mulan is my absolute favorite of the Disney princesses, of the Disney movies of that era. It's my absolute favorite. It's the one I had on repeat. I watched that one, and Lion King 2 and Anastasia, even though that's not a Disney movie. Those are my main repeat. Oh, yep, it is on Disney. You're right. I had those 3 movies on repeat, and I learned all the songs for Mulan. So when I found out they were doing a live action, I was thrilled. I was
excited too, because you know that was the people that like. The song, one of the songs from Mulan is like me and Bola's thing. Like during college, which is where me and Bola met.
Yes,
we would
VCU, go Rams.
Yeah, we would like walk about the campus or parade about the campus singing "Let's get down to business
to defeat the Huns." Did they send me daughters when I asked for sons? You're the saddest bunch I ever met, but you can bet before we're through, somehow I'll make a man out of you. Yeah. Be a man.
We must be swift as the coursing rain.
Okay, let's cut it. We could literally sing the whole thing. Mysterious as the dark side of the moon. Yeah.
And this was us during college, peeps. Like
people used to walk. Our friend group used to walk away from us because we just be out in public, be a man. But I loved it. That's how we connected. We loved like the same things, and Mulan was just my absolute favorite. The music in Mulan is just timely, classic. Oh god, I love Mulan, the original. So this the live action, it was a disappointment, y'all. We reviewing it, but it's a disappointment.
I mean, I actually enjoyed it overall.
Really?
I did. Yeah.
You did?
As its own thing, as a live action remake of Mulan, it was But as its own movie, like, if you did not watch it in the context of, like, a live action remake of Mulan, I thought it was pretty good. But as a Mulan live action remake, it was not great. And it wasn't like overall it wasn't great, but I thought it was pretty good.
And overall, I disagreed. And mind you, I watched it twice because I watched it in the initial time where everyone was like, I didn't pay the premium fee for it because I waited because I was like, nah, we gonna wait for that $35 to go away. Because I already have Disney Plus, but I was like, I ain't paying no $35 just for me to watch a movie.
Oh, no.
Unless it came with some gold or some popcorn or something else with it, and nothing came with this. So I was like, I'll wait. And I did. Once it was cleared, I watched it, which was months ago, with my family, and we were underwhelmed. I like you. I wanted to give it the benefit of the doubt. I was really trying for it, and then my sister, like, she just was like, "This is trash. This is trash." And then my mom, even, you have this old little Nigerian lady, and she was like, "Let's watch the original after this, so you can see why we don't like this." So we watched Mulan, and then we watched the original cartoon, and then she's like, "Do you see the difference now?"
I only
unlike
Bola, I only watched the live action one once. But I watched the animated one immediately after. One, because I guess I could have watched it before and then watched the live action one, but I was like, I feel like that's gonna taint it for me, so I'm like, let me give it the best chance. So I watched it first, and then watched the animated one, and I'm like, I don't know, it lacks heart.
Yes. So many things it lacks, actually. And then watching it the second time, I would have given it a higher score the first time, but watching it a second time with some fresh eyes, it's been months since I watched it, and I watched it again because I knew we were going to review it, and I just was like, I really can't wait for this to end. Like, I wanted it to end quicker, and I was looking at everything, just trying to be like, I had fresh eyes. I put everything outside of it, to just watch it again, like, how does this look as a movie? And honestly, it left me with more questions than, satisfied me.
Like, what questions?
A lot of questions. Like, we're going to go through this. I have a whole little list of dichotomy of things that were the same, things that were different, and then likes and a long list of dislikes.
But I mean, what questions did it leave you with, though? I
had questions about what was going on, as opposed to I'm watching this and I understand everything. It just left me like, why is this happening? Like, you're trying to figure out a film, of course, while you're watching it, but it's in my mind, those questions should be answered by the end of it, right? Unless it's like something like Inception, where it's just a whole big debate afterwards. But it wasn't Inception level. It was just like, why do they do this? How come this is that? Just certain choices of just like, why didn't they tell us this person's name earlier in the film? Why did this chi thing happen? Just, to me, it's like questions where this doesn't make sense. And it didn't sound or look like the original. I was like, I had none of those questions when I watched the first one. Everything made sense. You're wondering what's going on while you're watching the first one, but you're like, everything was cleared for you at the end. But for me, I just was very curious as to the choices that were made while they put this film out.
Yeah. And
I just didn't get it, So
speaking of, you mentioned the chi thing. The whole thing with the chi, by the end of the film, because, in the Mulan, and there's tons of spoilers, you guys, if you are a listener of any of our stuff, that it's always full of spoilers.
Y'all know y'all saw the cartoon already.
But, the whole thing with her chi and her, hiding the chi, and the general is like, why have you hidden your chi and stuff? And then at the end, it's like, she's going to unleash her chi and reveal how much chi she has. It's like, it's an Asian Frozen, to be honest, you guys. She was like the Asian Elsa.
Yeah.
Let it go. That's what she did with the chi. And I'm like, this is so...
And I didn't, appreciate that at all.
Disingenuous. It wasn't in, a great way.
There was a lot of conceal, don't feel.
Yes.
And I did not appreciate that. Because... Okay, here's what I was explaining to Whitney before about this, why I didn't really like that whole thing, because the original doesn't talk about chi at all. Now, because I watch a lot of Asian made by Asians and Asian language films. I watch a lot of their dramas, period pieces, and modern day stuff. So I know how they would present themselves. So this chi thing that they're talking about is something like everybody has, but it's something that they cultivate to be better. So in the original Mulan, that's how it was. It wasn't that she just had this awesome ability that was innate only in her. It was that, she might have had that power in her, but she had to work on it. She had to work hard. She had to train because she wasn't good in the beginning. And you saw the whole montage of her failing and falling and not doing well. But it wasn't because she had this special power and ability. It's just that she girded herself up. She tapped into the power within her, just her own strength and stuff. And she's like, no, I'm going to keep going and I'm going to become a good warrior. And it had a payoff. It taught me as a little girl, hard work, leads to a payoff.
Yeah.
But the way they presented this movie in the beginning, where it was like, this girl just has this amazing power ability that nobody else has. And I was so far removed from her when I saw that. Because I was like, you're saying that Mulan just has this special power. And they're like, women with chi like that are called witches and this kind of stuff. And I was like, what is this storyline that I'm seeing?
Yeah, and the whole witches thing, like, when she had, like, all, like, came back into the battle against all of the whatever they were called, I don't even know,
the
like,
ruins or the wrong.
I'm like, who is this? Like, it was easy in the animation. It was just the Huns.
Yeah,
that's simple, easy.
Yeah,
but like, I wonder if this is this true to history? Because if it was, okay, fine. But if not, I'm like, but why?
Okay, see, now you're hitting one of my questions. I had so many questions about some of the choices they made that I'm like, is this historically accurate? Down to like how her whole village was in this circular fixture and like everybody lived in this circle thing. I was like, I watch a lot of Asian movies, the period. None of their houses look like this. And I was like, what is this circular? I don't understand this. And then, like you're saying, that whole thing, this witch motif, not motif. What is that? This witch theme that they were doing.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't remember. They don't talk about this stuff.
It seemed like there was like almost a lesson or theme that if you're a woman and you have any type of power or independence or agency, then you're a witch, which I feel like is kind of more so a theme that would be more prevalent in like Western culture, because you know, with the Salem witch trials, and I mean, maybe that's true everywhere in the world. Like, everybody's kind of a dick to women if women are powerful, but I don't know. I don't know as much about Asian culture, but it seemed like a very kind of westernized type of theme.
Exactly. And then that's one of the things I did not appreciate, because to me, I've watched a lot of Asian dramas, and it's different Asians, like Korean, Chinese, Taiwanese, Thai. I've seen a lot of different ones, and if the women are powerful and stuff, it's like that's because they have a master and they've trained under the person, and that's just how they are. Even if they were like the witch type character, like the one that was the bird, who didn't have a name, which I also didn't like. She just didn't have a name. Like in the original, the Hun character had this hawk that he would send everywhere, so they decided to make her an actual character, a person, but they just didn't give her a name, and I thought that was really a bad choice too. They should at least named her. But they gave her that power, but it was like she would be a loner person, and I didn't like the motivation for why this woman was helping this man who thought so little of her. That he was just like, I'm just using you, you're just a witch. But he was using her because she was thinking that she would get a place and acceptance in society. And normally those people who have powers, they loners in the Asian movies, they doing their own thing. They accept that they're powerful. So to me, I thought it was a betrayal of how I've seen these people. Like, I didn't understand what they were doing. I did not. And I didn't like it. I didn't like it. To me, here's my whole phrase for this movie. This seemed like a whitewashed, westernized telling of a Chinese story, as opposed to just a Chinese story, which Mulan, the cartoon, established when it was first made. That's my main thing.
And I know we talked about this a little bit before the recording, you guys. And I mean, when the credits rolled, I mean, I didn't know, but then I watched something. I think it was like a YouTube video or something, and like I saw the director, who was a woman, and I mean, that's cool. But she's a white woman, and I'm like, I'm like, this is a very Asian
which explains
tale.
the Elsa. Which explains why the conceal and feel stuff was in there.
And then Bola was telling me
and
that there was like no one behind the scenes who was like Asian, which is probably where a lot of its problem comes from.
Yes.
Because you see like films like Black Panther, where, you know, a lot of the cast is black, but then a lot of the people behind the scenes, directors, I don't know about writers. I think writers as well. I think he directed it and wrote it. But like, you see how it benefits from having people of the culture behind the scenes, executive producing, writing, directing, or, you know, combination. But when that doesn't happen, you get Mulan.
Yeah, you get the live action crappy one. Actually,
sorry, yes, thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah,
the
original one was
Mulan.
great.
I love it.
Even the part 2, there was a Mulan 2. If none of you know, even that was better than this.
I never watched the part 2.
Part 2 was cute. I know people tend not to like the sequels of all those princess movies, but I was a Disney princess fan. I watched everything. Okay, I watched it all. But I actually want to get into that. So part of the reason, and to be honest with you guys, Mulan did not do well like across the board. And they wanted to get a lot of Asian actors and people in it because they were actually really, Disney was trying to cater to an international audience as well as American audience or Westernized audience. And there was so many controversies going on during the time of this film, and it kind of like really, not only did it like hamper the success because there was a lot of bad press around the film, but people still wanted to see it because no one knew what the film looked like. They were like, okay, I still want to see it, but there was a lot of bad press. There was a lot of hashtags about some negative things that were going on with the film. But what she mentioned was actually one of the controversies where even though on screen is all Asians on screen, but behind screen, there was no Asians involved in like the writing, the directing, even the crew I heard was mostly white. Only Asians were just on screen. And I feel like you said, that contributed to one of the reasons why this story wasn't good. Because I bet you if they asked some Asians, they would not have done the story this way. They would not have. The second controversy was when the part of this movie was filmed in China, but it was filmed in a province where there was what's the word I'm looking for? Some human rights violations that is world known. So there's a particular place, I can't remember, I don't want to say it wrong, but if you guys look this up, you'll know. But there's a particular region where they shot the film in China, and apparently there are some concentration camps that the Chinese government has made for a certain minority group that I think they're Muslim actually, but they believe, they're Muslim, and the government put them in what they call re-education camps, but they're really concentration camps because the people disappear. It's so much so people are saying it's not what China is presenting it as. And so a lot of people are mad that Disney was thanking them and being there and supporting them and saying all this stuff when they know that this kind of stuff was happening. So that was one controversy surrounding this film that also contributed to why people didn't like it overseas either. Second controversy was with the police. Actually, it was the main actress who played Mulan. So she had made a social media post in support of the Chinese police. So I was explaining this to Whitney the other day about how Hong Kong and Macau used to belong to China, but because of some war or some issue, they lost it as part of a consequence, and they were supposed to get it back after 50 years. So that time limit went up like some years ago. So China came to assume power in Hong Kong and Macau, but they have been free from Chinese oppression and rule for so long. So the people there were not trying to take China's rule. And so there, you can look this up too. There's been a lot of protests in Hong Kong. There was one big one that took national news for a couple years ago. And so a lot of people were mad. The hashtag came out, boycott Mulan, because of this and because of what the main actress said. She had said, I don't know what she said. It was in Chinese, but someone said, the news report said that it was translated that she was supporting the Chinese police in this situation. So that was another controversy, another slap at it. And then the third one was, of course, not having any Chinese or Asian people in the making part, but just the acting part. So I think those three things really contributed to the movie not doing as well. But honestly, I think the main thing is in the story, the writing and the development of the story. And I was like, why fix something that ain't broke? I was like, just do the.
Oh my god, yeah. Some of the directing choices, and I don't know if it was directing or acting. There was the one scene where someone says something to Mulan and the camera's just on her face, with her face just looking blank for an uncomfortable amount of time. And I'm like, this is really uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah, I actually heard some people said that they didn't really like the actress, that her emotional range was so low that they couldn't connect to her. They felt like she was a blank kind of. She was good at her physicality and doing all the moves, and the fighting scenes were nice, but she just has a problem emoting emotion. Like her sister was more. I got an emotional connection to her sister, and she was only in 3 scenes. Yeah, I could feel it and see it in her. But Mulan, the actress that played her, I was just like, all right, I'm just watching this chick. But I didn't really. I don't know. I felt some distance. I wanted to connect with her, but there was that, like you said, that heart missing. And I don't know if it came just from the songs, but it was in the movie, even the acting and the voice acting for that cartoon, that I didn't get that when I saw her.
And speaking of songs, I watched like a YouTube video after watching the live action Mulan. We'll put it in the show notes, but if you'll put that in, I'll send it to you. The link. But it was talking about like why Mulan didn't work, and this YouTube channel focuses on music and stuff, and he was talking about like he actually focused a lot on like just operas in general and how that translated to modern like musicals. But then he finally gets back to like Mulan, and he's talking about like, you know, with musicals, the whole thing is you like the musical scenes are like the emotions get so strong, or like the feelings get so strong that the characters just have to break out into a song. So it's like if you take out the music of a musical, then you have to replace it with something else. Like, if the emotions have gotten so strong, you have to find some other way to, like, convey, like, the strength of, like, the feeling of the scene, and they didn't do that.
You know what the weird thing I thought was that they did with the music? Knowing that these were such beloved songs, they knew that, and they wanted to incorporate it in, but I didn't like how they did it. So it's like, you could hear it as an undertone, like it was in the score, maybe. You heard that just a little clip of Be a Man, or just a little clip of Reflections, you know, or they said the lyric out, like, maybe the title. They said that, I'll make a man out of you, but that's all they would say. They would say that part of the song, like, I want a woman. They would put it in dialogue instead. Like the song where the guys are talking about a girl we're fighting for. Yeah. The guys were talking around a fire, talking about what kind of woman they want. But so they took the lines and was making it dialogue. And I was just like... Oh, yeah. And there was one part where somebody was like, tranquil as a forest, but on fire within. I'm like, oh, this is disappointing. Yes. And I was just like, why did they do that? That was one thing I really didn't like. That they took out the songs and then they tried to put them in that way, and it fell through. And I'm like, but they made Beauty and the Beast a musical. Why couldn't they have done it with Mulan? I don't understand.
Well, to be honest, I'm not sure how well it would have worked for like a kung fu type of movie.
They could have made it a different type of movie. Like, that's what I'm saying. They could have, like, I understand they were really trying to cater to international audiences. So they were like, why make this a musical when you don't normally see Asian movies with musicals? Very true. But I was like, you could have just made Mulan the musical live action and still have that heart and still have Mushu the dragon, dang it.
Oh, yeah. I really missed Mushu. And the grandmother.
Yes. And that was another thing. Like, they replaced certain people. So, little brother was the dog in her original one, but then they gave her a sister. And I actually liked the sister.
Yeah, the sister. I did like the
but
sister.
they had Cricket in the movie, but then they turned Cricket into a person and then just left his name Cricket. And I was like, really? Now you know, if this supposed to be China, you're supposed to have, like, a Chinese name. I was like,
well, in their defense, he did say, people call me Cricket. So apparently that wasn't his actual name, but that's just what everybody called him.
I know,
he never
but
actually told us.
We didn't have no other name to call him, so he was just Cricket. But like, I thought it was so lazy when it came to I'm like, give him a name. Just, then you could just say, oh, people call me Lucky. I get it. Got it. But I liked the person. I liked the character. I liked that actor. his performance was actually pretty good. So some of the people had some bright spot performances, which I appreciated. But then other things, because the main girl is Mulan, we're following her. I felt that at times they were disjointed because they wanted to do this whole shed your old self, your hidden self, the conceal don't feel stuff. They wanted to have her little Elsa moment. So they took her off what she was doing and went to this little one area with the other witch. And you're just like, are they connecting on the same level or not? Like, what's going on here? And then she just like transformed, and then her uniform, her armor became her little waistcoat, and then she still had the flowing hair, and I'm like,
oh my god, what you said just now, like, if I didn't know that we were talking about Mulan, I would have thought you were talking about Sailor Moon.
Thank you. Yes, the whole montage where she's like, Sailor Moon, and you're just like, yes, you just watch her change clothes
over her, and she's just saying, yeah.
Yes, and I'm just like, why did they do this? Because I didn't understand it, and it was so lame. Like, I just looked at it, I was like, why though? And remember what you said yesterday? You were like, that hair being out there is like a hazard. They could have grabbed that.
Oh my god, yes. When she decided to reveal that she was a woman and all, okay, fine. with some of the parts, like the kimono looking thing, like the flowing thing instead of what everybody else's armor is looking like. Fine, but why is your hair just flowing?
Yes,
it's almost like the cape
natural
thing.
curls. Yeah, right.
It's like almost like the cape thing from The Incredibles. Like, this thing can get caught in the jet engine and then you're doomed. Like, somebody could just grab you by the hair. This is why all the like a lot of the dudes in the movie do not actually have like long hair, but like I guess in Asian, but they tie it up because it's a freaking like hazard.
Mm-hmm. All that flowing locks. I was like, let me wrap my hand around this real quick, and then I slash.
Exactly. It's
That's
a liability. This like makes no sense.
And again, Mulan cut her hair before she did everything because she knew she had to have short hair. In the original, just saying.
Actually, that's one thing that I have a problem with in the original. Like, she didn't need to cut her hair. Like, from what I've seen, like, now granted, this is like Korean movies rather than this, but like, dudes had long hair. They just tied it up. Exactly. Yeah. So it's like, you didn't actually need to cut your hair. Because lots of dudes had long hair. You just tie it up the same way they do.
Yeah, she could have done that, but I still like that she did it in there because she wanted to make sure her hair was shorter to match the other dudes. Because I guess women had way longer hair. I guess. That's what I'm thinking. Anyway, the hair part is not really... But it was just like the way they made her look, you're just like... I don't know why. And I'm like, why was her waist thing on the bottom? Like, how did it go from the top to the bottom? Like, it was like a little skirt. And I was just like, what did they think? Like, she needs the armor. She's about to go into battle still. So, like, her chest is just going to be exposed. I mean, the little robes can't, like, stop a knife, you know? I was like, who thought of this? Okay, so we've been bashing it a little bit too long. Let's go into what we actually liked.
I actually kind of liked the theme about what happened, like the kind of the theme surrounding the witch. Because I equate, or maybe I just like the fact that it paralleled something else. I liked that it kind of made a point about what happens to people when they are excluded from society. Because, like, I saw parallels to, what is her name? Carly from The Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, Carly. Mm-hmm.
And in both of these cases, like, the villains became villains because they were basically ostracized from society. And it's from this, like, ejection from society that we get the, like, motivation behind the things they do.
Yeah. And they think they're just trying to like stand up for themselves or find acceptance or like with the witch character, she wanted to find a place because she had no home, no family. Everybody scorned her and shunned her and everything. Her main thing was she wanted acceptance and she wanted a place. So I actually, not gonna lie, I actually liked the character, the witch. I wish they gave her a name. I just didn't know what else to call her.
Yeah.
But I liked her character. I liked that she was powerful. I just hated that she was with this man helping him do whatever. Because there was a scene where at the beginning you're like, okay, this is her motivation. Bori Khan which is the enemy. I prefer the Hun, but Bori Khan was the main enemy. And he promised her that he would give her what she wanted, which was that place. But he never intended to do that. He never intended to do that from the beginning. So even when she didn't like the word witch. Witch was a derogatory word to her. She even like put him in a chokehold. She's like, don't call me a witch. And I was like, do you realize you're more powerful than this guy? This is what I didn't understand. She was more powerful than this guy. She could turn into an animal at any point and a swarm of birds at any other point. And it's like she can turn into other people. I was like, you don't even need him. There's so many powers that she had. And I was like, looking at him like, why are you still with this dude? He totally embarrassed her in front of his little group of guys that he was trying to get to help him fight. And then he's like, yeah, you're just a witch and I'm going to use you and you're going to finish what I'm going to do. And I was like, you're on the ledge right there with him. You can take him out. Like, I was like, at that point, to me, she should have just left him because he never intended to give her a place because he thought the same that everyone else did, that she was just a witch and he just needed to use her. And so in my mind, I'm like, why would she even stay? She could literally have killed him because she's that powerful. But again, no.
I think that it was because like her motivation wasn't power. And I think that's why she stayed.
I guess so. And then anyway, she ended up helping Mulan too, which I just was like, okay, so are you on Bori Khan's side or on Mulan's side? I'm not sure.
She had more of an arc than anyone else. She was a more dynamic character than any other person in the movie.
I know, and she had no name. Okay, so some of the stuff that I thought that they kept the same was I think I like that they still try to do like a feminism, girl power type of thing, even though they basically like usurped the Elsa story for this. So. And I like that they had the honor to the family thing, which was so deep in the regular Mulan that I was like, yes, some semblance of the past, of the old Mulan, of that little cultural nugget, that little value that was in there. I appreciate that because that was so much a motivating factor for her, that she wanted to honor her family.
Yeah.
She wanted to bring honor to them. She wanted to find out how she could, be... basically just bring honor and make her family proud. And I appreciate that because I feel that emotion. That's something that resonated with me. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad that they had kept that part in there too. And for the most part, I have to say they did follow the sequence of the original Mulan and how, you're with the family, then you get the whole thing with the Huns attacking, build the army, go for training, and then other things ensue. So I felt like they did that. They followed that at least.
I did like how much time they spent on the actual in the training camp, though. That's one thing I did kind of appreciate about it.
And I thought it was too long, actually.
Because, all the training in the animated movie was a montage, so I'll make a man out of you.
Yeah, I get that.
And I kind of liked the time that they spent on the training.
I also liked the cinematography, and I did like the costumes. Yeah. There's not gonna lie, the movie was pretty.
It was very pretty.
And the landscapes and everything. Even though I was bugging about this because I was like, when she was leaving, she done went through every landscape there was. There was a bamboo forest, there was a mountain, there was a lake, there was a desert. I was just like, dude, where is this training camp? Where are you going? Which country are you in that you've been through all the types of atmospheres that exist or environments? You went through the tundra, the desert. I was just like, yeah, there was an avalanche. So I was like, where are they? That they're like... Anyway, that just threw me, but it was very beautiful. I also liked the costumes. I really liked how the father, his name is Simai, but I liked him. I liked his portrayal in this, and then he was the narrator of the film.
I like the fact that they took it almost like from his point of view. I like the way they started it off, where they were like, there have been many tales about the legend Mulan. But this is my telling of it. And he was like, if you had a daughter who was blah, 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 could you tell her that she was only for men? I like the way that they kind of started it off that way. Mm-hmm. I thought it was like a strong way to kind of start it off, even though the rest of it kind of tended to be a little weak.
I liked some of the battle scenes. I thought those were pretty cool.
Some of them were pretty cool. The first battle scene I thought was so lame though.
The one where they jumped and then it's almost like they
going
kind
up
of
the
went,
wall.
Yeah,
I was like, oh my god, this is not boding well for the rest of the movie. And then when they I swear to God, and I know this because you guys know my memory's not great, but I only watched it 2 days ago, so I do remember. But someone literally said during that scene, "They're too strong for us." I'm like, really? Really? Who is writing these lines?
Yes, I'm telling you, the writer sucks. They really dropped the ball. Also, I like that there was Ming-Na Wen, who played Mulan's who did the voiceover for Mulan's character in the second movie actually. I like that she had a little cameo at the end, even though I was like,
I didn't even know. More. Bola had to tell me. I didn't even know.
She didn't even know. I was like, that's Ming-Na right there. She was only in there for 2 seconds, y'all. So she just walked on looking pretty. She walked and it's like, ladies and gentlemen, Mulan. And then she walked away. And I was like, that's it, Ming? That's it, Ming? They gonna do you like that? They could at least made you one of the, honestly, I wish they had, made her the matchmaker. That would have been great. I would have loved that if she was the matchmaker and they're like, y'all never, because her voice is so recognizable and iconic. And
I think they could have, well, I guess their whole atmosphere for the movie wasn't going to be conducive to this. But it could have done with some more humor. I loved the humor.
Yeah.
In the
Mulan
animated
was so entertaining.
Mulan. And a lot of that was really brought by Mushu. Mm-hmm. But
Dishonor your whole family. Dishonor your cow. Dishonor. You know how Eddie Murphy's voice.
Oh my God,
he just laughs as soon as he says
yes.
Dragon, not lizard. I don't do that tongue thing. I loved all those lines that he had.
Oh my
Seriously.
gosh, yes.
That was what was missing too, I think, yeah. Also, Jet Li was in there, and you didn't even know Jet Li was in there.
I did not know.
Jet Li played the king, the
emperor.
Emperor.
I did not know any of these actors and actresses that I like. I didn't recognize any of them in there.
Now they must have gave him a lot of money for him to do this, because I was like, Jet, you didn't read the script before you took this on.
Isn't he like retired?
He is, because he didn't have to do too much, so I think that's why. And then I heard from an interview I watched about him doing the film. The reason why he decided to do it was his daughters really wanted him to do it, because his daughters, growing up in China, they loved the original Mulan growing up. So he really wanted to do it for them. I don't know if he knew how crappy they would make it, but I would have been like, see? If I was Jet Li, I'd be like, see? Didn't I tell y'all? Look what happened. I didn't want to do this movie in the first place. But I wanted to do it because I was being a good daddy. Now look, I'm forever at this crap. That's how I would react if I was Jet Li.
Oh, man.
You got any more likes? No, I know.
Not really.
I know.
I mean, I'll just go with my overall rating. I gave it a 7 out of 10.
Man, generous. Because I gave it a 4 glasses out of 10. Because, it just was bad. And it was worse the second time around.
And who knows? Like, I mean, you did say that you probably would have given it a higher rating the first time, but by the second time, it, like, fell your estimation. So if I watched it again, it might have lowered. But since I've only watched it the first time, that's what I gave it.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to go into a few more dislikes that I didn't, because they were just a few more. Okay, so my main thing, my Shang, the love interest. Here's what I didn't like. They set up this kind of tryst, this kind of chemistry thing happening. He was hot, though. Yes, the guy who plays, we found out after an hour and some change what his name was. His name was Hong Wei. He basically was the Shang-esque character. But because they were not trying to make him the person training them, they wanted like a more famous actor in there. So that's why they made Donnie Yen's character be the commanding officer. And then this whole Shang thing was with one of her peers. Actually, I can understand why they did that. And I kind of like that they wanted to make him more of the peer. Yeah. But they didn't establish, one, I didn't like that they didn't name him from the beginning. So we didn't know my whole time I was watching, I was like, this guy's on screen all the time. You can tell he has a connection and interest in Mulan. I was like, what is his name? We didn't find out till like an hour and 15 minutes in. I was like, damn, why didn't they tell us what his name was? But he was the Shang equivalent, but his name is Hong Wei. And he was a great actor. Actually, I was really into his scenes. Like, he drew me in, like, not her. He did.
You're right. He did seem like a more rounded character than many of the other people.
Yeah, and I like that he supported her and everything. He was really trying to be friends with her and everything. They were trying to establish this rivalry between them, but it was, like, trying to turn into something romantic for later on, of course. But I just didn't like that they didn't have a payoff at the end. Like, with the Mulan movie, they kind of didn't go into too much. You could tell once he found out she was a girl, he was angry, but then you're like, man, I really feel for this girl. And then once they saved the kingdom, once they saved China, then you had a payoff at the end, because Shang came back to her house and just met the family. They didn't go too into, but it was like, okay.
Come to my window. Crawl inside, wait by the light.
I mean, what Grandma said.
To my window, I'll be home soon.
What the grandma said was that you should have brought a man home.
She brought a sword home. She should have brought a man.
Exactly, and he came.
And that's what I like. Let me sign up for the next war.
But in this one, it was like, okay, once she was like, she told the Emperor she can't be part of in the live action. She told the Emperor, like, I gotta go home, make things right with my family. Yeah, but then they had a little talk, and she was like, you could tell he was trying to like get at her and stuff, and all she did was like, I'm just gonna touch her hand gingerly, and then run away. And then nothing else happened.
That was funny. It's like an awful way. And then like the ending scene where they're like, please reconsider becoming a part of the King's Guard, and then she's just like looking up into the sky at this random phoenix. And then it like ends. I'm like, but she's looking up for so long. I'm like, why is this scene so long?
Okay, another dislike. I hate the Phoenix.
Oh my god, yes. The Phoenix was like, why? Like, because in the original movie, like the patriarch or whatever animal of the family was a dragon.
Everybody knows.
And they changed
the iconography is dragons with China.
For like no discernible reason, except for maybe they think that phoenixes are more female than dragons. I don't know. But they changed it to a phoenix for whatever reason.
You know what they were doing? They were trying to do this whole rebirth thing. because phoenixes are known for that. But again, was misplaced. I just was like, this was not. They didn't need to do all this.
It served no purpose.
The thing was just flying around, and it looked so CG. You're just like, what the heck is this? And then they pulled a Game of Thrones at the end, where they had the wings behind her. Oh god, it was so lame.
It was trite and derivative.
I hated it.
I was like, you guys are so lame for that.
God.
Like in Game of Thrones, it actually looked cool, and
yeah,
it was just lame.
It did look cool in Game of Thrones, and I appreciate it, but you really like, somebody stole that from Game of Thrones, and it didn't pay off, because it looked terrible.
It did.
And I was like, why the Phoenix?
I'm like, and this Phoenix isn't doing anything. Why is it just flying around this entire time doing
like,
nothing?
What is it? I just didn't see the purpose, and I was like, that was a bad mistake. It should have been the dragon. It really should have. So I didn't like that the Shang romantic payoff. It was just, there was no payoff there. And you're not getting a second part 2, so it's just like, oh. And I just hated it. She's like, oh, I just touch your hands. Like, this it was so awkward. You're like, this. How old are they? Like, what? I didn't like that. Yeah, what else would you say?
I don't think there's anything left for me to really say about it.
Yeah. Again, to me, it was really a whitewashed telling of a Chinese story. You could tell. And I was like, no, this is not how they would tell their story. This is not even, it just was so disjointed at moments. And I really didn't like it. And I was very disappointed. And I listened to a lot of different people about this. And I really wanted to give it a benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
That's why I watched it the second time. But the second time, everything was even more glaring. And I didn't come in with all that. So I put all the controversies, my original thoughts about it. I was just like, let me watch this again. And I was like, I couldn't wait for it to end. I was like, okay, I need this to go so I can. But I wanted to make sure we reviewed it properly and tell y'all why and analyze it right like we do on here, okay? Because your girl knows about some films, all right? The girl took some classes, okay? So I know a thing or two. So I'm not joking, but yeah. I just wanted to really get to why it wasn't good. Because a lot of people were not trying to watch it because a lot of people wanted to watch it, but then after they heard so many bad things, a lot of people were not trying to watch it because they're like, nah, they're going to ruin it for me, and I don't want it to be ruined.
And I think really what it comes down to is it was missing heart. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the heart in the original movie came from the songs and the humor. Mm-hmm. So if you're not going to have it be a musical, and you're not going to have, like, humor, then you've got to replace it with something else. And I don't know what that something else was. Apparently there wasn't anything else, and that's why.
I also thought the villain was his motivation was lame to me. Like, to me, honestly, the Huns in the original, he was so scary because all he wanted to do was take over. Like, it wasn't about his dad issues. He was like, it wasn't a revenge.
You invited me here when you put this wall here. It's like, that's a challenge. I consider that a gauntlet.
It was great. The conflict was great, but this one was just like, you killed my dad. I'm coming for you. I just was like, okay. I don't know. Like, the original guy that ruled the Hun, he was scary, and I like that. He was just like, I'm a badass. But this one was just like, he wasn't very villainous to me. I could do without him, actually.
Yeah.
I was just like, okay.
And the scene at the end where the Emperor, like, throws the arrow up in the air and she does her, like, I guess, signature move with the kick. I'm like, I don't understand this payoff because... Yeah, this is apparently her signature move, but the Emperor wouldn't have known that. So, like, why does he, like, throw it up there like they've coordinated this thing and been working on this move for months?
And I don't know. It just, I can't, I just sigh, y'all. I just sigh. I don't know what else to say. This wasn't a great one. I'm sorry, guys. Usually we pick some good ones that we were excited about to talk about, to analyze, but we wanted to look at this film, but Whitney hadn't seen it. I already saw it, so I knew it wasn't the greatest, but we already said we were going to do it. And funny enough, we are doing it in what's the month this month?
Asian and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Yeah.
So here's our little contribution.
Sorry, it wasn't a great one.
Yeah.
If anybody has any recommendations, then maybe we can try to watch it in a time enough for the next episode so that we can try to have something else that's actually a decent Asian movie.
Yeah. Oh, we should watch Minari. We should really watch that.
Because
that I heard was awesome.
We should do that.
You're supposed to watch Parasite too. Parasite was fantastic. Very cool.
So, peeps, just FYI, season 2, we are doing 2 episodes a month.
Mm-hmm.
We'll release on Thursday, so it's not necessarily going to be every other week, but we are going to do 2 episodes per month piece.
Yes. So all of our old episodes are available for you to listen to. If y'all miss us and everything, just go ahead and play an old episode, because we got 18 episodes now up. So go back and listen to our first season stuff. And we're pushing through in our new season, and we had that one little 1.5 season. We're only 2 episodes in. But it's there for you guys to listen to, okay? So is there anything else? What are you blurting out about? Anything to watch or upcoming?
I was blurting out about The Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yes, so good.
This week. And I finished Bridgerton.
Oh, yes!
And I believe that's actually on our syllabus for season 2. So you guys, we will be... Oh.
We gonna talk about it.
Yes, we are.
I've already cried, so I'm not gonna cry about reggae. I'm not gonna sing the sad songs. But I will talk about how much I enjoyed this film. There's a lot. Is that a real song, Whitney?
Shed no tears. I'm not singing the lyrics right, I'm sure. But it's a Mary J. Blige song, I believe.
I was I don't recognize it.
I'm not gonna cry, no, not the time, because you're not worth my tears.
Okay.
Like I said,
the jukebox has spoken, y'all. I'm telling you, she doesn't come up with a song for any situation. That's how her little codex of songs is just
sorry
so great.
for the head voice on this episode, you guys. I've got a little bit of congestion, so you'll have to excuse me.
I'm excited because I did see the trailer for I think it's Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Yeah,
I'm excited about that.
That did look really cool.
It looks awesome. It has Ronnie Chang in it, who's a comedian on The Daily Show. Well, he's a comedian in general. And then it has Awkwafina in it. And then I like this new guy. I don't know who he is, but I'm really feeling him. So I'm excited for that to be coming out. I don't know when it's coming out, but y'all check that out, okay? Cool. Anything else?
Oh, maybe we should actually add in a comedy special. We could do Ronnie Chang's Asian American.
Oh my gosh, or Jimmy O Yang. Oh my
god,
y'all actually really okay. So we're gonna blurt about some comedy specials. Watch those two because they are hilarious.
They are. So again, it's Ronnie Chang's Asian comedian takes over the world, and then Jimmy O Yang's. What was it actually called?
I don't remember what it's called. I'm sorry. It's the only one though that he's done.
It's the only one.
It's on Amazon Prime.
Yeah. So the Jimmy O Yang one is on Amazon Prime, and Ronnie Chang's comedy specials on Netflix.
Also, just go and watch the Chappelle one. What was the one you told me to watch? I watched that mess yesterday. I was dying of laughter. Sticks and Stones. Y'all, I'm not gonna lie. Chappelle always goes there. He always does. But right off the bat, he was just off the chain. I was dying of laughter, and I was like, "That's so messed up." But he said it though,
I know,
and he meant it, and he said it. Only he can get away with that mess, because I can't say what he says in the beginning. Those stuff that he said, I was like, but I was laughing. I'm not gonna lie, I was laughing like crazy. So yeah, we're gonna blurt about some comedy specials, y'all. Go and check those out. If you haven't seen the trailer and if you like Asian movies and you like kung fu fighting. Whatever.
Everybody was kung fu fighting.
Those kicks was fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening. Okay, I don't know the rest actually. Okay. There's also a show on the CW called Kung Fu, which is kind of like the Shang-Chi type for the DC world, I guess.
Is it good?
I don't know. People were saying good things about it, but the trailers look good. So, hey, stuff to check out, guys. We're giving suggestions today. I want to check it out. There's just too much to watch. There's too much. So much stuff. All right, y'all. So, that's it. That's all we got today. We're blowing out, blurting out. Bye. Have a great week, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for listening to our podcast. Please subscribe to our show on whatever podcast listening app you use and share the show with other Blerds and non-Blerd family and friends. And if you like our episode, please rate and review us on iTunes.
The intro and outro music is Twilight by Caption. You can find them on SoundCloud, username Caption, spelled Capshun. The show notes are by Bola, Hanson, and the audio engineering is by Whitney Booker.
And you can contact us by email at blerdtalkbw@gmail.com. And also, don't forget to get social, you guys. You can find us on our social media at Instagram and Twitter, with our @handle being @BlerdTalkBW. And we've got our individual things going on too, y'all. So you can find me, your Blerd Fashionista, on Instagram and Twitter at BolaStoryB. That's B with 2 E's like the insect. And I've got my own personal YouTube channel, just Bola Sade. That's BOLASHADE. D as in dog, E as in elephant.
And this is Whitney. You can find me at my company, Luminavi Studios. The email address is wit@luminavi.com. That's WHIT@LUMENAVI.com. You can also find me on Twitter at Luminavi Studios.